I would like the record to state that I did throw up from nerves outside before. I did get a little bit on my feet, but I've had a shower and I'm ready to record this. I am recording this on June 16th, which is my granddad's birthday. He was my favorite person in the whole entire world, and he was taken away from me very suddenly when I was 8 years old. And what I didn't realize was that his spirit came back to protect me and guide me through this life, and I only just worked that out not too long ago. So this is to honor him. All right, let's get into it. A voice came down from above and whispered in my ear, "You can have anything you want." And it was barely a few seconds that passed before I boldly declared that I want to eradicate childhood sexual abuse. At the time, I was in the middle of nowhere. I was on the rugged, remote west coast of Canada on a solo 8-day hike, even though I had never done anything like that before in my life. My backpack weighed 24 kilos and was filled to the brim with borrowed stuff from all of my friends. I'd actually never been camping before. And it's what they classify as a challenging hike, not recommended for beginners, though my friend did say, if anyone can do it, Kate can. And yeah, here I was. It was almost the middle of the day, the sun was above me, and I was in the middle of a marshy bog when the big questions were being asked from God knows where. I'm not going to lie to you, in the few seconds between the question and when I answered, there were flashes of fame and fortune and a red cherry sports car and a lavish mansion and as much money as I desired. And I did have the brief thought of my prayers being answered for, I'd been praying for just $5,000 to help me get me back on my feet, so I could pay my credit cards off. But no, this is what I want. I want to eradicate childhood sexual abuse. That's it. That's the short of it. It's both that simple and that complicated. And this is my life's purpose. Welcome to A Day in the Life of Kate. My name is Kate and I am your host. I am a proud survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I am a proud survivor of incest. And I am a proud survivor of emotional neglect. This is my story. This is my recovery. These are my experiences, and I would like to share with you what I can. This is a true story. I wish I could say it happened to a friend of mine, but I would never wish what happened to me on my worst enemy. This happened to me when I was a little girl, and it didn't happen once, it didn't happen twice, it happened repeatedly. And if what happened to me happened to a grown, capable adult, it would destroy them. I know it would, because it destroyed me. It has robbed me of so many things. It has robbed me of so much of my life. And of course, the effects of abuse like this is not usually visible to the naked eye. No. But there will be signs though. For me, it started with unbrushed hair and unbrushed teeth and just like a total disregard for my well-being. I had a what's the point in any of this attitude. I have a very long list of symptoms, including persistent severe depression, which ironically I cannot feel a lot of the time. I have mild anxiety as it comes up on the test scales, which I am sure is muted as well. I have troubles getting to sleep. I have troubles waking up. I have disturbed sleep. I suffer from nightmares. I suffer from debilitating emotional flashbacks. I have trust issues, severe trust issues actually. I'm highly suspicious of people's motives. I have hypervigilance, and sometimes that takes the form of paranoia, and my therapist helped me recognize that it is paranoia. When I was highly suspicious of my best friend's motives, even though they were pure love for me, I was convinced that she was out to get me. I also have intrusive thoughts. At 12 years old, I remember describing my emotional regulation pattern as suppress, suppress, explode. I have two modes, either nothing happening at all in my head or my thoughts running 100 miles per hour. At some point in my teens, my friends pulled me aside at Pizza Hut, no less, to ask if I had a problem with food. And believe it or not, at that time I was not aware of my actions, but the binging and purging was a regular occurrence. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I hated the side of me. I still struggle to look in the mirror. I struggle to look people in the eye because I'm terrified of them witnessing my sadness. And this can come up as being suspicious. What I longed to hear was, "You're gonna be okay." And the question I feared the most was, "Are you okay?" Because I was worried that it would all just come bubbling up. At 15, I had my first drink, and after that first night of drinking, I knew that I should never drink alcohol ever again in my life. But I kept coming back to it over and over and over again. And then came the drugs, and then the partying, and the overworking, and the chain smoking. I was trying to find a way to stop the noise in my head, a way to get out. I thought that going to university was a way to get out, and it was, except I didn't know how to look after myself. I started and stopped university so many times and did all different degrees that if you look at my transcript, you probably think it's some kind of joke. I was just trying to find a different direction. looking back, I would make friends very easily, but I couldn't maintain them. I wanted to be close to people. I wanted them to know me. But then as soon as they got to a certain distance, I wanted nothing to do with them. And that's still happening today. Talk about hot and cold. I can't imagine what that was like, or what that would be like to be on the receiving end. And I live with deep regret and sadness for so many broken relationships that I have left in my wake. Some people I would latch onto so closely that would be inseparable, and we did everything together. Just recently realizing that it's probably codependency. And most people, I'm sure, wouldn't quite be able to work me out. Like something was off. We couldn't connect. And I couldn't keep up the charade of all these different masks that I was wearing, and I would avoid these people. Or I'd be freaking out that they'd want to see me sober and straight, and I just didn't understand why they would want to be anywhere near me. I didn't want to be anywhere near myself. I have suffered from suicidal ideation nearly my whole life, except I didn't know what that meant, didn't know what that term meant, and until only very recently, and I thought it was just normal. I remember being a little girl, and it was my birthday, and I was blowing out the candles, and I wished that I had never been born. And in that moment, I thought I was a genius. I haven't quite been able to work out the logic behind it, but I knew that if I shared my wish, that it wouldn't come true. And of course, listing out all of these things, it seems quite obvious that something is definitely up. But here's the kicker. Somewhere along the way, the abuse took all of my memories from me. Basically all of them, gone. And people think I'm kidding, or they minimize my experience by saying, everybody forgets. But this is not just forgetting. This is amnesia. This is both a godsend and incredibly isolating and lonely. Because it's not just the bad memories that are taken. This function does not discriminate. It takes all of them. And for the longest time, I didn't know why I couldn't remember. I have been adamant for a long time that I have a photographic memory, and I have been even more hell-bent about getting my memories back. I've had a few friends ask me, like, why would you want to remember something like that? And I didn't have a response for them at the time. But I want to know who I am. I want to set my younger selves free. Because a lot of them are still back in time in those heinous situations, all alone, with no one to help them. They didn't get help from their caretakers. They didn't get help from their caretakers back then. As much as they should have, it didn't happen. They had to wait until I grew up. They had to wait until I became more capable. The creator of the support group that I am part of said that people say to her, why are you always talking about this topic? Which, when I read that, I could relate to it somewhat. What surprised me though was her response. I'll stop talking about it when it stops being an issue. The abuse stops with us.